Massive fraud scheme uncovered in Minnesota found money intended for social services has been allegedly siphoned indirectly into the pockets of the Somali terrorist group al-Shabaab. Somali immigrants in Minnesota have reportedly been abusing systems meant to help the most unfortunate among us, including the latest federally funded autism services. The autism fraud scheme reportedly amassed $14 million through Medicare claims for services that were never provided, involving kids who never had autism. And the Somali immigrants behind this web of schemes have allegedly stolen billions from taxpayers, much of the money going back to the Somali government, where it would then end up in the hands of terrorists. Manhattan Institute investigative reporter Ryan Thorpe was one of the first exposing the schemes for their ties to terrorism. With us now, Ryan, a line from your story stuck out. The largest funder of al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer, and you cite an unnamed source for that. What is the evidence that all of this money that was taken and the billions upon billions of increased funding in Minnesota for social services ended up in Somalia?
Well, billions of dollars of government welfare money is missing in the state of Minnesota.
How do we define missing?
Well, the fraud is so bad that the U.S. Attorney's Office has come out and indicated that they believe their entire government programs, where the fraudulent claims outstrip the legitimate ones. There are cases where indictments have come down or guilty pleas are already in to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars that were fraudulently obtained, filing false claims alongside doctored paperwork. And the indictments are continuing to come. And the U.S. Attorney's Office has made very clear that this is a network of fraud schemes stacked upon fraud schemes, and that while the true dollar figure in terms of stolen funds at this point isn't quite clear, it's safe to say that we're talking about billions of dollars.
Chair at one group called Feeding the Future that went from getting $3.4 million in 2019 to $200 million 2 years later. They grew faster than NVIDIA. How did nobody see that? Or is it that people and the government and those who are supposed to be the watchdogs, like Tim Walz, like Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, there just weren't looking?
I think it's safe to say that there was a real unwillingness or inability among Democratic state officials in Minnesota to recognize some pretty obvious alarm bells here. All across these programs, claims were skyrocketing, absolutely spiraling out of control over a short period of time. And the reality is that the Somali community, which is where these large-scale fraud rings have been concentrated within this population in the state, it is a sizable voting bloc. It is a voting bloc you have to win if you're going to win political office in Minneapolis. And so I think that was likely a incentive here that made some people not want to look too closely at what's been going on.
So what you see happening is the Democratic Party allow foreigners to come over here and spend all of our tax dollars and steal all of our tax dollars and launder all of our tax dollars, and they are in cahoots with them because they want their vote. So you're going to let foreigners come over here, Somalians, and you let them come over here, and now they're 80,000, they're deep. And so what they do is they want them to be a new Democratic voters base. And so what they do, they let them launder our money, take our tax dollars, and they don't care, and they turn a blind eye to these nonprofits. They allow them to get nonprofits. They allow them to get these fraudulent claims, and they know what's happening, but in turn, they turn around and turn a blind eye for their vote. And that's what's happening. Americans, wake up. We're allowing these foreigners to come over here, set up shop, become real strong in these Democratic ran states and cities, where now they're determining the outcome of the voting. And so when you allow this, when you saturate a country, a city, a state with so many foreigners, what's going to happen is that's going to dilute the real Americans' vote, the real citizens' vote. And now they're going to determine the outcome of elections, and they're going to vote what's best in their interest. Therefore, continually stealing your tax dollars with the help of these Democratic politicians, stealing your tax dollars, taxing you. That's why our property taxes are are so high, and we're in these blue states and cities, we are paying the highest taxes, the citizens, and we are paying for illegal aliens and funding their lifestyles, their business through fraudulent dealings. This is what's happening, guys. If you don't wake up, I keep telling you all, Americans, if you keep turning a blind eye and just keeping your head in the sand, if you don't wake up, you're going to mess around and be funding your own demise. We're funding our own demise. Wake the freak up, okay? These people are coming over here and getting businesses. They're coming over here getting nonprofit organizations on our backs. We're paying for their fraudulent dealings, and